Percy,
How are you?
what's up, man?
Busy,
Yeah,
tired.
it's okay. That's a good problem to have. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm good, man. Where are you located?
New York City.
New York City, the Cauldron. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. You can probably hear the construction going on.
I love the ambient noise. Yeah, I'm actually in Kansas City. My dad was born in Brooklyn, raised in Long Island, got in the military, came to Kansas City, fell in love, and boom, here we are.
Wow, Brooklyn to Kansas City. That's a big culture difference.
Yes, it is. But he talked to me about Brooklyn back in the day, and man, I remember one of the stories that stands out as the most stark story was when the Dodgers left. And he said that all the people used to drive around and they'd have dummies dragging from the back of their cars, kind of like, and it said LA on it because they were so upset. So,
Ah, yeah. Before my time, but sounds about right.
yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, hey, man, you got a lot going on. You got a great story. And before we get into it, what I'd like to do is ask you how you survived COVID. The last 3 years did its own thing on all of us. How did you get through it and how did it change you?
How did I get through COVID? Through vaping, video games, and podcasting. No, I'm kidding.
There you go.
Uh, Although the first two are true. Yeah. So during the pandemic, I'm one of the people that kind of looked at it in a positive light. I was able to refocus, get myself together. At this time, I just moved to LA 8 months, 7 to 8 months prior. So I was just getting my foot in, and then bam, I'm on my own for the first time. I'm in all the way across the country, so I'm trying to figure out what to do. 'Cause auditions are slower. And I created the Prince of Fresh Air podcast. That's how I got started because of the pandemic, and it was something that kind of helped me stay focused because for the longest for the 2 years that we were in it, a lot of the times I found myself unmotivated. Then I had a couple family tragedies, and I'm like, what am I doing? I feel like I'm wasting my youth just sitting around vaping and playing video games. And the podcast helped me do something creatively. It was kind of acting in a sense, being in front of the camera and stuff, but being able to control my own thing, do my own thing, and have something that I can look forward to every day, opposed to just waiting for that opportunity to come. Hey, person got an audition, come over. So that helped create the creative spark I have, and it also just kept me motivated. It was hard, for a lot of people, it's probably hard to keep that motivation going when you're sitting on the couch eating Doritos. So I just put myself, I allowed myself to use that to grow and find other ways to be creative.
So at this modern point in your life, if you were in front of a bunch of third graders and one of the kids looked up, it's career day, and they're like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
I say I'm a content creator, and I say that because for the longest I was an actor first, and then the pandemic made me realize, wait, I don't really act as much as I used to. Not in the sense when you become a agent and manager and stuff like that. It's not the same as doing student films and little indie stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you get to that point where you're going out for the bigger stuff, the auditions aren't going to be coming every day like you used to. So now I'm creating my own thing. So now, on Instagram, I'm creating fitness videos. I got the podcast. I'm, still obviously doing acting, doing media appearances for YouTube channels and stuff. So for me, it's about creating content that makes people feel good and motivated. And of course, I get to show off the charisma because, I have to. So I would say content creator for sure.
So talk to me a little bit about how we got to this point. Um, what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream growing up?
Ooh, third grade. Ooh. Um, I know growing up, I wanted to be a writer because I loved R.L. Stein, Goosebumps. I have a collection. You probably, if I could, I'd bring a whole stack. And I love the Goosebump books, and I actually started getting me into writing as a kid. Now, as a kid, I was playing chess often, so I actually wanted to do chess, but professionally, I want to be a writer. And even in middle school, I remember I wrote like a 25-page book, superhero book, inspired by Goosebumps. So that was something I wanted to do. Um, and once I eighth grade was like the pinnacle because when I got to eighth grade, it was like, okay, I have to start looking for high schools. This is the height of Disney Channel. So I was watching Hannah Montana, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. And my social studies teacher, I remember she was like, hey, I saw you do one of the plays. You seem very, interested in, doing acting. Is that something you ever considered? Um, and just because, everybody's choosing high schools at this point, I don't know what I want to do. So she kind of guided me into choosing the high school. I ended up going to Urban Assembly for Performing Arts. And now it's the start how I shifted to acting. Now I still did writing up until 10th, 11th grade, but acting became that priority in ninth grade. And I've been doing this since.
So, how did those seeds get put into you early on to have the charisma, to want to act, to want to write, to create? How did that happen?
Well, the charisma, I've at this point, I want to be open to people. This is something that I wasn't born with. I didn't have 10 years ago. This is something that's recent. Now with the, writing stuff, it was more, I grew up in the foster care and I went into my adopted mom's house when I was 6 years old with my three younger brothers. So it was a time where I was trying to find myself. I was very introverted, which I know is shocking to some people. I was very introverted, and writing was something that. So what I normally did was while everybody's outside playing basketball, or whatever, I was normally watching horror movies or reading. I loved reading as a kid, and that's what kind of got the writing going because it was something I could do in my free time. I didn't have to worry about having buddies come over to do it. I could do it on my own time, and I still loved writing, but I think acting, what got me into it was watching Hannah Montana, Sweet Life of Zach Cody. I didn't realize it was acting. I thought it was just people, just playing characters. I didn't think of it as a business or industry. I want to do that. I think I could, do that. And in my mind at that time, I was thinking more of the Goosebumps stuff. I would love to do Goosebumps act, be on the Goosebumps show. And, learning the business, learning what acting actually is, it made me grow as a person because up until this point, even with the writing and stuff, I was still introverted. I got out of my shell a little bit. I still made a lot of friends, but I wasn't a guy you call, hey, there's a block party down the street. We need you. I was one of I'm staying at home. So acting kind of broke that shell into making me become an extrovert. And doing all the Shakespeare plays and being around people who understood what I was doing and enjoying the process, it made me understand. Okay, maybe I am finding who I am at this point. And it wasn't until college where I actually became comfortable who I am as a person. So acting was one of those coming moments for me where it was like, okay, who am I? A lot, my brothers had their own identity, my friends had their own identity. Who was Percy? And I thank acting for that because without it, I don't think I'd be here today. Well, I mean, I'll be here, but I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing today.
So, who's been a hero for you?
Oh, do you mean in life or just like inspiration?
Yeah, I guess kind of both. It merges. Like, who's been someone that's really fueled who you are?
Okay, before I get to the real life, I will say Denzel Washington professionally. Denzel Washington, I was telling my college buddy the other day. A lot of people don't know Denzel Washington was a garbage man before he became a successful actor.
Wow.
And he went to Fordham, which is near when I moved up to the Bronx in early middle school. Fordham University was not that far from where I was living. I could walk there in like 7-10 minutes. So he went to college there, and he was a garbage man before he came into Hollywood, and he did a lot of Shakespeare. And Denzel was one of the guys that I looked up to in high school when I was starting to look at colleges and the type of career path I wanted to be. That was the guy I wanted to be. To this day, I think Denzel's top three, one of the greatest actors to walk in Hollywood. His skills are. I'm not here to replace him. I don't think that's ever happened. But if anybody ever looks at me or watches my skills and stuff, I want them to say, "Man, I could see a little Denzel in there," because that's who inspired me. Now, in real life, mm, it's a tough one. I would say in real life, probably the biggest one will probably be my buddy Odie. We met in high school, ninth grade, and we're still friends to this day. He's been in the industry a lot longer than me, a lot more success in that um, department. But he's someone that's helped me understand the business, understand growth as a person, maturity. He's helped me get my first agent. He's helped me understand, okay, how do you act on television opposed to theater? Whenever I have any personal or life goals, uh, personal or professional goals, he's someone I can call up. We go to Central Park, we sit down, we talk, and we understand the vision and the journey. So in that respect, I give it to Odie, which if he ever hears this, be grateful. Now,
So let me ask you this. What's a motivator for you every day to be who you are, to achieve, to get to where you want to go?
every day, Will Smith called me. No, I'm kidding. Um, every day, I remember. I remember this would have been right after I graduated, so 5 years ago. I remember I was doing background for what was this a session? I think HBO. John Voight, Hollywood icon and legend. I remember we was in between takes. I was standing right behind him. We was talking for a little bit, and he was asking me what I was doing and stuff, and I let him know I just graduated, and I wanted to get into the business. And one thing he said was, "Stay true to stay true to yourself, and everything else will fall into place." And that's what it's all about for me. I didn't, yeah, I might act a fool sometimes on the camera, to make people interested in what I'm doing. But I stay true to who I am. I don't put up a facade. I don't act like a big shot. I don't act like someone that, is better than anybody. I'm still the same person I was in third grade, just bigger, better looking, and more charismatic. And so for me, knowing what I want to achieve in life and what I want to do helps. A lot of people in their 20s don't know what they want to do. So for me, I knew since I was 13, 14 years old what I wanted to do. So every day, yeah, I have my days where I might need a little conversation to pick me up. But I know what I want to do. I know what I want to aspire to be. And what that is not just to be the next Denzel Washington or the next greatest action star. It's to inspire other people. And that's something that really lately I've been inspiring to tell my story. Because a lot of people look at the hair, the charisma and stuff and think, oh, he tool job, he's feeling himself. It's like, no, there's a lot more to me than you know. I've been through the trenches like many other people, worse than what other people might have went through. I just know what I need to do in life or what I want to achieve in life. And that's what keeps me going. It's the fact that I'm not complacent or where I am right now. I don't want to be 5 years from now still talking about the glory days. I want to be somewhere where I can help other people with opportunities, motivate other people, and just entertain people too. But my life lesson and my journey is to inspire.
So if you got Denzel to be on your podcast,
Uh,
what would you like to ask him? What would be the first couple questions you would ask him?
Oh man, Denzel. Listen up, Denzel. I got a couple questions for you. First one would be, why are you still in my shot? Because no, I'm kidding. Denzel. One of the things I will ask him, I'm always intrigued by this. What is his process when he gets into character? Because everybody's process, memorizing lines and how they show up to set. We hear the stories of method actors. I would love to understand his mindset of how he develops a character, how he gets into that. Because everybody process is different, and I love the behind the scenes aspect of it. Another thing I want to ask him is, what does he think about the industry now? Because Denzel's, I think, 60s now. So when he got into the industry, it was a lot different than what it is now. As we see, it's more diverse and inclusive, and there's more opportunities for minorities. But for him, probably a lot different, despite his success. So I would ask him, how does he feel about that? I will also ask him, is there any regrets? We always hear about everybody's success stories, but I would love to hear his perspective on, is there a gig or acting job he turned down in hindsight he wish he would have took? Um, is there something he wish he would have did differently in his career? And also, one other thing I would ask him is his journey. A lot of people don't know their favorite actors or celebrities' journeys. They just see them in front of the camera, on camera or whatever the case may be. And they think, man, I want to be like him. And I tell people all the time, Terry Crews had a family. He was buffing floors before he became an actor. Many people were shocked to hear that. So everybody has a journey, and I would love Denzel to share his because I don't think the new generation, my generation, younger, know what he's been through and how he got to where he is. So that would probably be the number one question I want to ask him is his journey.
So if they make a movie out of you later on in life, who's going to be the lead actor? Who's playing you?
I come on, nobody. I'm gonna come back from the grave and do it myself.
There you go.
Uh, who? Let me think. See, I would say Dwayne Rock Johnson, but nah, nah. Uh, that's a good question. I don't know. And I say that because despite the exterior what people see, it's a lot more layers to me, you know, that meets the eye. And I don't know anyone right now. Maybe I would say Denzel. Denzel Will Smith, someone who I know has a history or a proven record of being able to portray levels of characters, right? Because I don't want someone to, if they play me, to just play the on camera version of me. I'm still the same person, but I don't want them to play the most charismatic man. I want people to understand how I went from almost getting jumped in elevators, and when I was a kid, and going through the adoption, and losing my father at a young age, and all the stuff that I've been through up until this point. I want somebody who can at least give some of that flavor in between, opposed to, oh, the most charismatic man is here. It needs to be a little more multifaceted. So Will Smith, Denzel, and yeah, that's it. That's the only two I can think of right now.
Okay. So of all the things that you've done up to this point in your life and accomplished, what are you the proudest of?
Ooh, um, the podcast, and it's funny because acting is my number one. But the reason why I say the podcast is because it's something that I didn't think I would ever do. Um, it's something that I had, I had an idea, but I never really thought I was going to pull the trigger on it. And it's something that I control. I love acting. I love the industry. I love the people that work, that I work with, and vice versa. But acting is a very up and down industry. And this is something that allows me stability of some sort. My life is always all over the place. I get a call the night before, hey, we need you on set for a big project, or whatever the case may be. So having something like this where every day I can come up with my own thing, control the narrative, control, not that I'm shooting the narrative, but I can control what I want to put out, who I want to come on. Having that in such a chaotic world is definitely something. 3 years later, seeing how popular it's become and seeing the fan base grow and reaching new audiences. I didn't think about this 3, 4 years ago, so to see it now is something I'm very proud of, because something I can say I did on my own. I didn't have a manager or agent help me do it. I've done it all on my own. And it's something I'm going to continue doing regardless of the actor's success.
So if you could see one event in human history that happened with your own eyes, witness it firsthand, what would you love to have seen happen?
Oh, see, you know what? You know what? I would say the building of, should I say, yeah, the building in New York. And I say that I'm one of those people that are very fascinated with what life was like 300, 400, 5 years, life 3, 4, 500 years ago. And, to see the Empire State Building, the George Washington State Bridge, seeing, all of these skyscrapers, I always wonder. Actually, I scratched that. I scratched that. Right? Remix. I went to Gettysburg last weekend on vacation. Come back from vacation. And me and my girlfriend, we went there, and it was a place that I never really thought I wanted to go. I was just going because I was driving, and I know she wanted to go. But hearing about what is it, the Gettysburg War, I think it was, that happened in Pennsylvania. I saw like illustrations, I saw the clothing, and I saw, what some of the, memorabilia was like from back then. I would have loved to seen how not only did the state look, but how the people look. Because it's crazy to think, but 200 years from now, people might look at us and think we're weird looking. So it's crazy to see how life went from grass, fields, and people walking all over the earth. They didn't have cars to where we are now. I would love to just see how simple, how crazy life was like before the technology, that good stuff.
So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, fans, colleagues, but you run the show.
Mhm.
What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm a guy who's, yeah, charismatic, of course. I'm confident, but I see myself more of someone who's aiming to inspire and help other people. You know, I have a slogan called "A helper hand is a better hand," and it's something that means there to me because you know, in college, while everybody else was partying and drinking and smoking and doing all that good stuff, no shit, no disrespect to that, but I was working with drug addicts, people low income, poverty. I was working on a farm, a New York City kid working on a farm. And I learned a lot from these people, the people society deem less than and get away from us. Those people taught me some of the biggest life lessons I've learned to date. And like I said, I care about people. I might come off like a douchebag and all that stuff. I don't get it. I don't think I act like it. I think it's just perception. But I really do care about people, and I want people to have motivation. We all need someone we can aspire up to or look up to. And I would like to do that to younger, the younger generation or even older people, because I want people to show that you can bounce back from, trauma or whatever, childhood or anything um any baggage you have, you can overcome that and become a better version of yourself.
So, Percy, if anyone wants to get involved with your podcast, learn more about you, anything about Percy's world, where do they go?
If you want to go, all right, check this out, because Tom Cruise had the same question. I normally charge 15 grand. No, I'm kidding. Um, so yeah, I host the Prince of Fresh Air podcast. Yeah, it's on my Instagram. I have my website up there. You can even Google it too. So you can type in the Prince of Fresh Air podcast or Percy Brown actor. Everything will come up. It's on the 40 different platforms at this point. I started doing YouTube again because I'm like, you know what? I can use a little bit of that ad revenue too. But yeah, the podcast is still going strong. I just had a video with Jubilee ranked alpha males, their popular YouTube channel. You go check that out if people are interested. And stay tuned. I got some stuff coming this year. Um, but like the great The Rock said, can you smell what it's cooking? Probably not, but I'll let you know soon.
I like it. I like it. Percy Brown, thank you, sir. This has been a pleasure. You're a cool cat, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
Best of luck. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Cheers.